So for those of you who watch the channel, you'll know that we've bought a piece of land in Scotland and we're going to be moving up here, my wife, my son and I. For those of you who don't watch the channel, we've bought a piece of land in Scotland and we're going to be moving up here to build a house, my wife, my son and I. It's going to be a passive house, off-grid, so the content of the channel is going to change slightly. Still going to be construction, but it'll be a little bit more eco and personal construction rather than building flats. I think it'll be more interesting because we've got some cool building techniques like earthen walls and living roofs, which we've done the living roof before, but it's off-grid, so we're going to be doing hydropower and all that kind of stuff, so it should be pretty fun. This is day one. I've come up a little bit early to construct a sort of pen for all our furniture. So there's no house here. The thing you can see behind me is a sort of sheep barn full of sheep poo, so I'm going to have to sweep that all out, and it's pretty manky. I'm going to construct a sort of a shed for all our furniture when we actually move up here. We're going to move up in about a month. There's no house, there's no power, there's no water, there's no drains, there's nothing here. So I set up base camp last night. A nice sleep actually. It's super quiet. There's the road's just here, but car every hour maybe. And there's sheep, and there's not supposed to be sheep. They sort of roam around randomly. So I was expecting a sheep to be nudging my tent in the morning. Here's base camp. Got sort of two bits of land. We've got the house plot, or what will be the house plot, which is this sort of square you can see around here, with sort of goes from the trees there and encloses that bit all the way around, basically the closest trees you can see. And then we've got the second plot of land, which is sort of halfway up that hill and goes, well, I'll take you down there later, but it goes all the way down that way. It's 53 acres in total, but the rest of that stuff's going to be what we rewild with trees, and this bit's going to be where the house plot is. So I better get on with sweeping the sheep poo, and we'll see how we go. Okay, so I've cleaned up, or swept up, spent the whole morning and early afternoon doing that. I fixed this in a really janky way. I've just wedged these. The reason I've done it like that is because I haven't got time now to completely repair it, and it was at such an angle that the rain was coming in, like it was raining over here and just pouring down this side, and it was all going under there and just soaking that whole thing. So I just wanted to prop them up for now, so that the rain that's coming between now and us moving up isn't just going to completely soak that. And it's got to, I mean, it is dry now, but there's rain due, and I don't want it to get worse. I've got about as far as I'm going to get with cleaning up now. I think I've only got tomorrow left, and I need to get the structure done, or at least half done here. So I think that's it for cleaning up. We've got rain in 20 minutes. So before it rains, I'll show you the grove. Don't know why we call it the grove. I'm not even sure what a grove is. Kind of looks like a grove. Looks like I'd imagine a grove to be. So we're calling this bit here the barn, and that bit down. Let me show you. I might have already shown you in the intro, but I'll go through it again. The bit down, the bit down there, down to the river, that's the garden. This is a house plot. Then this bit go through this gate. This is what I'm calling the grove. It's got trees, like pine trees, and it's sort of sheltered, so it feels like a grove. It's got some great timber that's fallen down already. I don't believe in cutting trees down that are already living. I think trees are precious enough, and they do a lot for the environment, and they look great, and they've spent hundreds of years, or 100 years, let's say, growing. I feel like you shouldn't cut them down, but if they've already fallen down, then I feel like that's fair game. You can harvest those. So this bit between these two pine trees, so like that lot and that lot, is the grove. You can see all the trees, or hopefully you can see all the trees falling down there and there. Going to be chopping those up once we move up for some projects we've got coming up. Sort of some old, by old I mean medieval old style huts that we're going to be putting around the land. So we'll have a look at this. We'll have a look at what I'm dubbing the dumping ground. My wife prefers I use a different name, but I'm pretty sure it's going to become exactly that, a dumping ground. I don't know if I'm going to get up to the top today, because depending on the weather, it's a bit of a trek. I'll try. If I don't do it today, I'll do it tomorrow. So I'll try and show you from up there down, and maybe I'll get down to the end of the plot down that way. Time and weather dependent. I also have to have a dip in the river because I'm covered in like burnt. In fact, there's half my hair's charred from that fire, and sawdust and sheep poo and all sorts. I'm pretty sure I'm going to have a bath, a natural bath. Okay, so that's, you see that? It's nice and pretty, isn't it? I don't know, I just feel like grove kind of works for it. And then you come through here, just had to repair this, again, a budget job, repair this fence, because the sheep are coming in. I've got to repair this bridge. I'll turn you around so you can see. There's the bridge. That's what I got the sleepers for, to try and repair this, because there's holes, and I want to drive the quad bike across here and into the dumping ground, which is going to be where all the excess stuff goes, and I don't know, piles of dumping stuff. That's what it's for. And it's just up to this fence. Oh wow, look at the size of that fish. I don't know if you can see that. I'm going to try and get... Okay, bear with me. No, I can't, because the... Yeah, I'll come back. It's a massive fish, and what's a tiny pond down there. I'm going to try and submerge the camera and see if we can't catch him. I mean, not literally catch him, but, you know, film him. Oh, it's like... in such a small pool. There's two of them. Bugs are pretty annoying. Okay, so this is where the sheep are coming in. These fence, well, it's not. Everything's been here a long time, and I get the feeling it all needs repairing or working on. I suppose I'm the right person to do it. There you go. They just come straight through there from the farmer's land over there. This used to be, I think, the farmer's land, which is why the sheep are so used to being able to come down here. But between this fence here, those trees, and then those trees that separate the dumping ground from the grove. Our plot actually goes down to the river there, but there's a nice fence, so it kind of separates this bit. It's at the edge of the plot. Doesn't really feel like it's that pretty next to the rest of it, so I think we're going to be... a mouse. Don't know if you heard him. So might have the greenhouses and stuff down here as well. Feels kind of greenhouse. The sun comes from, rises over there. We have a little S here because of the hill. It has to come up above that, and then it sets over that way, which means this section should have more sun than the grove. And if I put it up on the land up there, then you know it won't have the morning sun. And this is close enough to the house to be able to get to it. Going to be doing hydroponics, so you can tell there's lots of cool projects that we're planning. Hydroponics, hydropower, solar power, some hydro turbine power, obviously solar power. That's a given. It's easy and relatively cheap. What else are we going to be doing? We're going to be doing a composting septic tank. We are going to be collecting our own water, filtering our own water. Yeah, the hydroponics I've mentioned. So most of the land up on the hill and down in the valley that we've got, that's marked for reforesting. So we're going to be reforesting that, so that'll be fun. What else are we going to be doing? Some more of the general making stuff that I like doing, so we'll have some random projects. I've got a motorbike that it's not really restoring, I'm kind of making it from other bikes put together, so I'm not sure that's that relevant, but we've got stuff like that coming up as well that we'll probably film. And if nobody wants to see it, we'll stop filming it. And if nobody wants to see this, we'll stop filming it. This is kind of a test because it's quite serene here, and YouTube is a bit out of place. If I was living a truly serene life, I think I'd dump cameras and everything, but I feel like you don't get to see this kind of stuff every day. And if before we were doing it, I'd love watching other people doing the same thing, so I'm going to be continuing it, and if people want to keep seeing it, then I'll keep doing it, and if it doesn't do very well, then perhaps I'll stop. But 10 minutes in the rain, perhaps it's coming. It's not here yet, there's not a lot of wind, but I'll see how that's doing, and if the wind and the rain doesn't pick up, then perhaps I'll trudge up to the top and just show you from up. We're going to see if we can find that fish. Right, I'll get the cover on this so it's waterproof, and we'll go and dunk. I'm on my way up to the top, and when we came the last two times it was winter, there was no leaves on the trees, but it's nice to see that there are saplings already here. I was worried the sheep that were breaking in were eating everything, but you couldn't really see these in the winter, but they've sprouted around. I'm not really sure what species these trees are because I'm not. Like, spot hardwood's alright. I think these might be some kind of birch, but I'm not sure yet. Google will be my friend in that. Those are good. 20, 30 here. When I calculated the number we've got to plant is about 35,000, so it's going to take us quite a few years to plant them up. And we're going to be going for the Caledonian rainforest, I think it's called. That type of balance of trees. Mainly pine, I think. It's mainly pine, because that's what should be here. But yeah, we're going to go for a return into the Caledonian forest and see how that handles it. It's quite wet, so I don't know if that'll work. Stuff you see across the other side, all that is logging trees, so they're all the same species. Looks lovely, and when it's a bit wet, you can see the mountain breathing, all the steam coming off the top. Okay, so we made it up to the top of the plot, not the top of the hill. It's twice as far up that way. You can see the barn down there. That's where we've been working. Plot goes a bit further that way, but there's no point walking down there for the sake of a slightly different view. That mountain over there, walk a bit further so you can see it. That one has snow on the top, or it did when we were last here, so that was really pretty. The rest of it, it's not quite high enough, I don't think, but that one looked really nice. Trudged up here to get the measurements for the hydropower. We were going to tap off some of the streams up here and then put them into a collector and then pipe them all the way down to the bottom, so that we've got high pressure. We've got about a 70-metre head, which is the height. That's important with hydro because it's the head, like the gravity affecting the water, if you like, the force of it across gravity, which is important because that's how you get more pressure, or one of the ways you get more pressure. It's about 130-metre length, which does matter because of the friction in the pipes, but we'll go through that when we actually get to. God, look at the size of that dragonfly. I'll see if I can get him. Cool. He's like a wasp, black and yellow. There are these lovely boulders like all over the place, that one of them looks placed purposely. I'll show you that as we go around the plot, because it looks like the rain has held off and has them all the way up here anyway. I might as well walk to the end. I don't think this is the stream. Maybe it is, can't remember. Don't think this is the stream that we're teeing off. There's two, and I'm considering collecting them together in a sort of collection chamber, and then using the increased amount of water to get higher pressure. But there's a lot of testing to go on with all that, and trying to work on it from the other end of the country without getting accurate measurements here is a bit of a challenge. So right, I wonder. God, that's a nice tree. It's like, they're all really small here. They sort of look, they're not olive trees, but you know, olive trees, they're all small and gangly and look very old, but not very big. They're all like that here. It's going to be interesting to see how the rest of them grow, the other species I mean that we plant, because there are some areas which are quite boggy. There's some peaty areas. We had the people we bought this from, I think they were ground surveyors or something, because they had a really detailed map of the soil across this area, and because it's quite a big plot, it must have been quite a job to get, you know, each section of soil tested and the suitability for planting, or I don't know how you do it, I suppose you calculate it, but pretty pleased they'd done all that work, because it means we can work from that. We'll put a few tester trees down and see how they fare, probably this year, so that we can get on with it in the next few seasons. But I'll keep walking, and then I'll come back with you when I've got a bit further and a bit sweatier. I thought this tree looked pretty cool. It's got like a new tree growing through the old tree. I'm not sure if it's the same tree, like the same root system, or if it's that's super cool. There's also loads of smaller trees now that we can see. Like I said, there's lots more here than I thought there was. Sheep tracks are handy because it means you can walk through the undergrowth a bit easier, but I've seemed to have lost them, so I'm going off piste. So this place used to be used for sheep farming, I think I've mentioned already. So there are fences in the plot already, which we're going to pull quite a lot of them down because there's lots of pens and it makes it really annoying getting from A to B. But right now you can still see, where is it on the camera? Is that it? Maybe, I mean, I'll point to it with my eyes and then maybe you can sort of see. There's the barn. This is the edge of the sheep fence. There's the road down there. Hear a car coming now. And we're going to walk to the edge of the plot, which is that run of pine trees just there. It's nice down there. It's a bit different. Everything between there and where we were before is about the same kind of shrubland with those species of trees. I'm not sure what they are. There's some nice meadow flowers around. I wasn't sure if there would be any here because I'm not don't really know much about Scottish wildlands, or if they're left, you know, completely wild. There's tons of little butterflies and things, moths, spiders, and a million flies. They're like, we live in England at the minute in Northamptonshire, and you get flies there, but these are like wild flies, they're like big as birds, and tear your hand off when they take a bite. Haven't been bitten too bad though. There are midges here. We were worried about midges, and I tried some midge, and I tried that called Skin So Soft, and they didn't seem to work. I have heard that they smell your breath from like quite a long way. I think I read somewhere like a mile away they can smell your breath. So trying to breathe through my nose, I think I heard somewhere that helps. I don't know if it does. You're still breathing, but perhaps it isn't the same. I don't know. But yeah, I had lots of midges last night because there was barely any wind. But they did bite, but the bites don't itch yet. Maybe they will. But yeah, so far they didn't. And it's a bit different because the ground here, there's a grasshopper, ground here is really dry when I've walked around the last couple of times. And partly the reason I've decided to go to the end of the plot to show you now is because it's dry, and when it's wet, this grass, it's sort of like, what's that? Monster in the trees. It's quite high, so it gets your trousers really wet, even if it's not, and it is very wet underfoot because it's peatland most of this. But if it's had some rain on the tops of the grass, it just soaks your trousers all the way up to your waist. So I'm walking now because it is dry, and tomorrow's supposed to be rain the whole day. But today's just supposed to be showers, so I'm trying to catch all the footage before that happens. Oop. Cool. It's off piece. Right, I'll navigate this stream. I just dropped this little microphone thing, and I've just been walking around for 20 minutes saying hello and seeing how loud the microphone picks up my voice as I walk around, because it's wirelessly connected to this camera. Gave up, and I was like, oh damn it, I've got 2 of these, but they're not cheap. I thought, right, I'll try one more time, and I went back, and my hello test worked. Suddenly got a signal on it, and I mean, who'd have thought you could find something like that in? I mean, I've been searching a pretty big area, but yeah, so that's a win and a half. It just shows, isn't it, that you're going to go and give up, and then it's usually that one more try that seems to come through. So, I mean, I even found the tiny little magnet that goes with it. It's turned about to be a really annoying moment into a big win. You will have noticed there are electricity pylons here. Where's the gate? Oh, don't tell me it's further up there. It's further up there. Noticed that there is electricity pylons, and we're talking about off-grid. Yeah, we could have it connected if we wanted to the grid from the pylons, because they run through the plot, but it defeats the purpose, I think. If you're trying to, we always wanted to be off-grid, and I think if you just do it because it's easy, it's not always the best thing. We want to be self-sufficient, but not necessarily for, because we have to be. It's because we're in control of our power. We're responsible for it, and you feel more responsible for what you use. You're more careful with how you use it, and I think we get a sense of pride from not relying on the grid, and there are problems with that. And so although there are pylons, we're not planning on connecting to them. This is the edge of the plot, finally, after that fiasco. Looks lovely in this, was it evening yet? Nearly evening light. This is the neighbours' plot, and I mean, they have some far older trees than us. A bit jealous, really, if I'm honest. We don't have any really big really big old ones. It's part of a castle estate, the whole thing, and it was split up into what seemed like different plots for the farmer before us, and they have got all the old trees. So our bit that's part of the castle must just have either never been planted or has received culling of the trees. But see, though, you probably can't. I'm filming everything on a GoPro because you see it's already hard enough filming, but there's some huge trees down there, really old ones. Look lovely. 3 of them look dead, but they still look beautiful. All white. These pines here are our border. I think I saw a pine tree down that I had to chop up, but oh, there he is. Is that? Maybe it fell inside. It's pretty down in this bit though. It's sort of one of those forest stream rock bit. I don't know what you call them. It's like a nice dark forest undergrowth bit that goes down there. I'm probably not going to go down there now because I'm tired and I need to finish unloading the van. I've already done more of this than I really planned, given I spent half an hour trying to discover the microphone, which I've now welded to my t-shirt. But yeah, still there. One last thing on the way back. Did I walk through that on the way here? I must have. I think I was talking to you and I just forgot. Another one of these huge rocks. On the way back, I'll go past the one that I suspect has been placed there, rather than, but these could be naturally, God, these flies, naturally occurring. Well, you know, tumble down from the top of the hill or come down through natural means. But I'll go a different route back. Can't be bothered to climb all the way back at the top, so I'll just keep going down here like this. There are some mounds which, when you look on Google Earth, they look, some of them could be man-made, not sure they all are. They're a bit random. I can't see how they would have formed naturally. They're kind of piled up. And one of them has a C shape to it, which looks like it could have been man-made, but I don't know enough about the archaeology. Apparently this was Celtic area, because we're sort of low highlands. So I don't know if we're officially highlands, but we're on the west coast, we're north of Glasgow, just. So yeah, I'm not sure. The Picts didn't get across this side, or if they did, they didn't colonise, and they're all on the northern coast from what I've read. And the Picts, the Celts came across from Ireland. So the original Scots, I think, I'm kind of, I nearly killed myself. I think what I'm piecing together from bits and bobs, they came across from Ireland. The original Scots were Irish or Celtic. So this area here has Celtic ruins. There's a church that's got some Celtic carvings on just down the road. We're near Loch Fyne. We're not actually on the edge of it, but we're sort of in between Loch Fyne and I think Loch Eck, but I'm in the middle of nowhere. I don't have a smartphone, and I'm sure somebody will correct me if they know the answer, and who knows, maybe I was right. So here's the stone. It's not, I saw it last time, I thought it was huge. It's not that big now. I'm coming up to it, but it's placed on the top of a hill, which makes me feel like it might be a cairn. Might be somebody. That fly, yeah, I mean, it's dinner. I think this one's been placed here, but it's not quite as grand. It's not exactly a megalith, is it? But I mean, I probably couldn't move. No, definitely couldn't move that. It's too big for me. But it's on top of this, one of these random mounds. It's quite steep. You can't see it on camera, I'm pretty sure, but that drops all the way off. down there, and the river's down, runs sort of through there. Our plot ends along that tree ridge. We don't have the river on this section. We do near the house. But I'm gonna trudge back, unload some of the van, and then what I'm gonna do, have a wash, and then time for barbecue dinner, I think. All right, it's time to have a wash. I'm sorry about the nakedness. I'm not actually completely naked. I've got swimming shorts on, but I'll try and keep this decent. I don't know. Look, is this as cold as it looks? Yeah. I reckon the answer's yeah. Okay. Oh my god. What do you reckon? Just go for it. Oh my god. It's actually not that bad. It's actually not that bad. So it's day 2. Glad I took you for a walk yesterday because the weather's completely changed. You can't see halfway up the hill, so that's good that we did the walk yesterday, and that I did all the sweeping up, because can you see this bit here just kind of rolled up like turf? Can you see it? Just kind of rolled, look, it's all stuck there. Just rolled it up, but if it gets wet then it's a lot harder to dig, and we did a good clear up. And there are some drips inside, which is, I suppose you'd say it's good it's raining too, because now we can see where it leaks, and when we come back up next time we can patch the roof. I went back to work last night because I was bored and had nothing to do, so I've already started the panels for the walls. I got one done, so that I knew the process. It's just a 3 before, but 2.4 by 1.2 by 2.4 frame. But in the past, when you buy sheet materials, they're 1.22 by 2.44, and when you buy stud work, CLS stud work, it's 2.4 meter length, not 2.44. So I always wondered how are you supposed to line this up without cutting all the pieces of timber? And I figured out if you lap one side and then put the other side on the edge, so like one corner, you've got a piece of timber there and then it butts up there, and then the other corner you do it the opposite way, so the butt and the lap, and then you also do the opposite sides here, so this is the opposite to that one, which is also the opposite to that one, and then this does actually make a 2.44 grid. You still have to cut these pieces because they go between, but it seems to work. So we're going to make a bundle of these, and then we're going to try and erect the storage area that we're planning. You see, it's all leaky on the floor, leaks there. You can see where it's coming from, but I hadn't got it on my job list to fix those today. This bit's not doing too bad because that roof used to pour in the back here. It is still getting a bit wet on the floor there, but not quite as bad as I was expecting. The midges are out in force. I thought the rain would get rid of them, but sorry, I've basically got out the tent and on with work. I haven't had a warm up, so my voice is all croaky. Fire's burned out nicely. I'm glad it has rained because it looked a bit too dry. It looked a bit too dry when I got here. But it's nice and misty. I bet if I climbed up this side would be lovely and misty. Oh, it is. You kind of see it there. Well, you can't see it there, which is why. God. Hopefully when I come back after 5 more minutes work, my voice will be working again. It's worth it with jobs like this to spend your time making sure you set things up. That's why I went back to it last night, because if you operate it in a way that you can just keep going through, you don't have to think about the measurements, and preferably you don't even have to measure each length. It just makes repetitive jobs like this so much quicker, because you can just keep going. I mean, I've only been doing 15 minutes and I've got 3 done already. What I do to make this quicker is first spend a little bit longer getting your measurements. This is only worth it if you're going to be making more than 5 or 10 things. If you're going to be making 5 or 10, just don't spend the time setting up the first one perfectly, so that you can do it over and over again, because you just measure it every time. It's going to be quicker. But if you're doing this many, spend the extra time on the first one so that when you get to the other ones, they're just really quick. And what I do is I've put pencil marks on here. I haven't labelled them, so nobody but me really knows what they are, so that I know that I just put the timber in there like that and then chop it, and that means I can just put each timber there. It only works if you're cutting a little bit off the end. If you're cutting somewhere in the middle, you haven't got a piece of metal there to mark, so you might have to measure it. And then I can just whip through, cut all the uprights that are going inside. And when I'm talking about spending your time setting up the measurements, all of these are friction fit. I nail them, but what that means to me anyway is that I'm able to put them within the square and they hold themselves in place without me having to hold them, so that they're nice and tight, and I can nail them knowing that both sides are stuck where I left them, instead of if they're a little bit small, you have to kind of hold them, and then you've got to fire the nail into your hand, which is a bit dangerous. Hold your hand far enough back, but it still feels a bit dodgy. Whereas if you make sure they're all friction fit, then you can kind of pop them together, nail them, and know that it's all going to hold together. So spending time setting that up, and then when you come to batch make things, it's just a lot quicker. We've emptied the van, and I ordered a lot of wood. Yeah, so I've done all the frames over there, like you've seen me doing. I haven't got all of them done, but I've got all of the, I've got a lot of them done. Got those, and then we've got those assembled like you saw. I'm going to redo that section, and I've got the workshop bit to do as well. But we've got all that timber standing there. I ordered a whole pack because I like things in packs, and yeah, that's how much extra I've got. So I'm going to have plenty to be getting on with, which is good, because deliveries here are a bit difficult. But that's us all packed up. I'm going to get all my tools into the van now. Cool. You see, it was raining this morning and now it's glorious sunshine again. Such a beautiful hill, and there's some rocks up the top. Rocks up there. There's a cave somewhere. There's a cave, and it's somewhere over there. I can't see it from down here. I've had a good look, and I've had a good look on Google Maps too, and I can't see it. I see where it's likely to be, but on the Ordnance Survey map, it shows it in a location that doesn't look likely to have a cave. That section of rocks up there looks like it could have a cave, but where it's supposed to be, no sign of it. But it's not my land. I haven't climbed up there. I might have a sneak up there though. I want to see if I can find that cave. So the next time we're up here, I'm going to get that finished, and I just think we'll be actually moving up. Got the static caravan arriving. So what's going to come on this channel? This video has been mainly me just rambling on a GoPro instead of all the fancy cameras because of time. So I think what we'll be doing on the channel is we'll be doing all of the hydro projects. We'll be going over the build. It's going to be a very unusual build. I'll probably do a whole video on the design of it because it's a pretty unique design. I've designed it in a way that means I can make most of it myself. So we'll be filming all of that. If you'd prefer to see, I know this video I went into a bit of construction tips as well as walking around. I'm not really sure on the format we're going to go ahead with this in the future, so this is a bit of a test, but I'm hoping the content will be a bit more interesting for everybody, because we'll be doing personal projects rather than just stud walls, bathrooms, tiling, silicone and all that construction rabble. There'll be a bit more interesting and unique projects, because it's an interesting and unique. Going to be doing a really cool bridge, one of those Japanese type bridges with a bit of rob in it, so it won't look like a Japanese bridge, it will look like a rob version, which will be a bit odd, but there we go. So if you like the kind of content that I'm suggesting we might be doing, like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time I come up.